that was the most frustrating year of my life, buying those types of leads. And it's literally the complete opposite direction when you're getting these YouTube leads.
Today we had on real estate YouTuber, legend, San Diego agent Dan Parker. He talks about how he gets 63% of his business from YouTube, how he gets the leads, how he converts the leads, how he keeps your attention throughout the entire video, the content buckets, his playlists, and how he gets short form content from his long form.
The Broke Agent presents Over Ask Podcast.
Mr. Dan Parker. I'm not going to say the same joke I just said a couple minutes ago, but Dan, we're excited to have you here. You kind of look like Carson Daly. Ever got that before?
I have not, but I appreciate it. I'm going to take it as a compliment, I guess.
Is it not Carson Daly now when he was young and good looking? Yeah, so yeah, it is a compliment. I will say before we start this, you are from San Diego. Favorite Blink-182 song?
All the Small Things. Is that Blink-182?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean,
it's the only thing that came to mind. I know I listened to that.
If Matt doesn't talk to you for the rest of the episode, that's why.
So, Dan, we're stoked to have you on. You are you're a bit of a YouTube master here. Okay, we're very excited to have you for this because you are growing your business through YouTube, and it's not like you're like Mr. Beast or anything. You have 7,000 subscribers, which isn't, it's a lot of subscribers, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not like you're a Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, something like that. And you're getting tons of kind of business and I guess opportunity from it. So I want to get into that. But before we do, can you just kind of tell the audience who you are and what you do?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate this a lot. I've been in real estate for almost 6 years now. And I think from the very beginning, I always knew I wanted to do some form of attraction marketing. I didn't really know that term or what that meant. I just knew I didn't want to knock on doors and cold call. I wanted to find a way to have people reach out to me that wanted to work with me. So that was always my goal. It took me a long time to figure that out. A lot of bad videos, a lot of posting, restaurant videos on Facebook that were just horrendous that people watched out of pity. And then finally stumbled across YouTube, and it just really worked. It just made sense to me. Like, people are literally searching pros and cons of living in San Diego, cost of living in San Diego. And for whatever reason in my mind, I thought about that. I'm like, I don't have to worry too much about entertaining people. I just have to answer their questions. And so that really resonated with me. So I started doing that about 3.5 years ago. Took about a year of really consistently posting videos to get my first client off of YouTube. And then it was like the gates opened and the leads were just flowing in like crazy. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Started a small team here in San Diego. We have 5 people on our team now. And to date, last year, 2022, 63% of our closed business came from YouTube.
Wow. Those first Facebook videos where you were doing restaurants, were you interviewing restaurant owners or were you just going to restaurants and doing reviews on them?
He thought he was Guy Fieri.
I did. Yeah. Well, I'm in San Diego with Kyle Whistle. He was the master at getting himself out there with his tour videos of restaurants and things like that. So I was doing a very low grade version of that. I wasn't even interviewing anyone. I was just going there and making content and thinking that would somehow help me sell homes. But I had no interaction with anyone at the business. I had no interaction with anyone else about real estate in the video. So just it really didn't make sense.
Those videos, Matt, I feel like real estate coaches and content creators have been preaching to do those restaurant videos for years now. It's like, oh, this is such easy content. All you have to do is go to a restaurant, hopefully get the owner and interview them with an interesting piece of content for 30, 40 minutes with a film crew.
Right.
That sounds impossible. And the restaurant owner has to be engaging. They have to be charismatic for the video to actually be interesting. And that's probably the hardest content you could possibly make. And for some reason, the real estate industry has been preaching this interview local restaurant owners for years now. To me, it makes no sense.
It's just because you find one thing that kind of works and then or someone says, and then everyone just kind of jumps on board with that. I mean,
Yeah,
unless you're literally going to Hell's Kitchen and getting Gordon Ramsay, like no one cares about how they cook their steak. You know,
exactly.
it has nothing to do with anything.
Everybody has this romantic idea that you're going to get the local Italian guy and he's going to
Right.
bring you in. You guys are going to be drinking wine in this incredible setting. And he's got this great accent. He's telling you about the community and you have all these clips and it's this perfect 30-minute thing. Byron even talks about this. I'm like, this never happens.
Yeah.
I've never seen a video. I've never seen a real estate agent post a video like this that I found interesting. So I'm glad you pivoted away from that into YouTube. Good move.
Well, and you'd have to produce it every single week. If you're not doing it weekly, like there's no point in doing it.
Right.
And I always think it's kind of funny, like they call it being a digital mayor for visiting restaurants for some reason. I don't know how that correlates, but
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So you said 63% of your business now closed business comes from YouTube. What did your business look like before YouTube, and kind of what does it look like now in terms of business and volume?
yeah, I mean, I was starting out, I was never a big producer. I was bartending at nights in order to pay my mortgage, like the first couple of years. And, I always took this as a full-time 40, 50, 60 hours a week job. But again, like I had a really unique vision on how I wanted to run my business, and it took me a while to get there. So, I kind of went from like a very low producer to, last year we did 25 million, and which is, we're not the top 1%, but top 10% of buyers agents here in San Diego County. And starting out this year, 2023, it's the first month we have, I think, 22 qualified pre-approved buyers ready to go in the next 6 months, just from YouTube. So, and we're doing a lot of other stuff right now, which I'm sure we'll get into, but yeah, it's working out pretty well.
Yeah, let's get into that other stuff. But first, let's dive into YouTube and how you started your channel. What were those first videos like? What was the creative process and how did you come up with the titles and the ideas?
Yeah, in the beginning, I think a lot of people do this where they have realtor brain and they say, all right, I'm going to make a video on what is escrow because that's what people want to know. No, people don't care about that stuff unless you're going to make. There is kind of a way that you could make it happen if you're doing a like nationwide channel and you want a really big audience, and like kind of like what Javier Vidania does. Like my channels can be only about first time home buyer stuff. And then I'm going to really try and get out of selling homes here locally. I'm just going to be this guy and sending out referrals and things like that. But what you need to do is you need to think about a relocation specialist. That's really what I am and what my channel is. So starting out with the kind of basic videos that a lot of people were doing at the time and now, the pros and cons of living in San Diego, cost of living in San Diego, just like the actual SEO keywords that people were typing in and researching when moving to this area.
How did you figure out those keywords?
In the beginning, I would obsess over them. There are tools like TubeBuddy and Keywords Everywhere, and there are different tools that you can utilize to find out like what terms people are searching. I did that for about a year and a half. I would spend, I don't know, anywhere from like half an hour to 2 hours on each video, just trying to find the right keyword, the magic keywords. And then I was introduced to Christina Smallhorn, who is a total badass on YouTube. I think she has over 200,000 subscribers right now. And she basically, she preaches how she started and obsessed over all these keywords in the SEO side of things. And then was taught by the amazing Dara Leaves that is not as important. Like just actually realizing when people are talking about algorithm and on the platform, it's like replace that term with people. You're trying to put your video in front of people, and the reality is a strong majority of the videos are watched on YouTube are not watched because someone searched for a term. Majority of videos are viewed because someone logs into YouTube and all of a sudden there's 12 thumbnails on their screen and one is so enticing that they want to click on it. So that was really kind of a pivot for me about, I don't know, probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, was thinking like, all right, well, I'm just going to stop obsessing over that stuff and just make videos that I think people really want to watch, create kind of pillars of content and stay within those buckets, and then just come up with the most interesting and unique ideas that would fit underneath those buckets, while still getting inspiration from other people. So like Jeremy Knight, Ken Posick, like really early on in COVID, we all got kind of really into this, and we were talking all the time and sharing ideas. And So yeah, I mean, just over time, it's kind of developed.
I have a Javier Vidania story that I'll tell later. Remind me to tell it. But what do you think of this, Dan? Because I think people are they're scared to start a YouTube channel.
Mhm.
You've become a bit of an expert. Your videos are very polished at this point. You obviously didn't start that way, but you also live in San Diego. So those videos make a lot of sense because a lot of people move to San Diego and want to move to San Diego. Eric, for example, would love to move to San Diego.
Yeah.
Correct.
I'm not even joking.
Oh, Dan knows. So
Yeah.
I've been talking to him about it for a few
Right.
years.
Yeah. But I mean, an agent who lives in Detroit or Omaha, you know, I'm not saying anything's wrong with where they live, but not people aren't exactly, lining up to
Yeah.
live there. So can this method of YouTube still work in those markets, do you think?
Yeah, great question. And then the other thing you can add on top of that is like, what if you have someone that's already crushing it on YouTube in your market? Like, is it even worth going through all the effort? And I believe it for sure is harder right now because when I started, there were 3 agents in San Diego that kind of made videos. Now there's probably over 100. Like, it's crazy how many people do it. But out of those 100, probably 93 of them are going to stop after their 10th video. So like, that's fine because people are going to watch their videos, and guess what's going to show up after their video? It's going to be my videos. So I'm not too worried about the competition. Just know it's going to be probably a little bit harder and longer to get to where you want to be. But in the smaller markets, and even in San Diego, like, yes, a lot of people want to live here, but very few people can live here. It's not a cheap place. Our average sale is $1 million sale. So when people are looking, like, I brought up Jeremy Knight out in Austin, Texas, and Ken Pozek out in Orlando, Florida. Like, those are 2 places that a lot of people relocate to. It helps that they're also really good at what they do and really good at their channels, but they also just happen to live somewhere that's going to automatically bring a lot more people over to them. But I talk to people all over the place. I have 2 really good friends that we became like accountability partners early on in the YouTube thing. Paul Wolfert in he says Metro Detroit, so he's like just outside of Detroit.
Oh wow.
And then
Okay.
Misha Thompson in Warner Robins, Georgia, which has a population of I think it's less than 100,000. So thinking of all these different places, it's been fun to see how it affects everybody. And my friend Misha, he's in a really small area. His channel, like when he just barely got to 1,000 subscribers, he was still closing 40 deals a year through YouTube because he had the right audience. We get so stuck on like, how many subs do I have? How many views do I have? All this stuff. And that shit doesn't matter. Like, how many deals are you going to get out of that? And then our friend Paul, it's kind of similar because he's looking at, like, of course, no one's looking to move to Detroit. Like, where do I want to live in the US? I want to live in Detroit. Nobody says that. Of course, I'm sure people relocate there, but for like weird reasons. But he lives outside of Detroit. So he has a hard time coming up with ideas of like, how do I make videos for my area without talking about Detroit? Because that's the one big metro over here. So every area is going to be unique in your approach, but you can absolutely have success in every single one of those areas.
Right. You heard it here. You heard it here first. Dan Parker hates Detroit, and everyone who lives there.
He does. And
True.
Matt hates Omaha, and I hate every city that's not Los Angeles or San Diego. Dan, you mentioned accountability partners. What is that? Were you guys like calling each other on the phone daily, just seeing how consistently you're posting?
Yeah, man, we're accountability buddies. Is
Oh
what
my
we
God.
like to say.
Please tell me you didn't say
Please.
that.
I
Yeah,
knew that you would love
Haley,
that.
edit that out.
Haley, delete the last 5 minutes.
Haley,
If I ever say
get-
the word accountability partner in my life, I want someone to end my life immediately.
Haley,
All right.
take Dan off this call.
Haley, remove Dan's box. Matt, let's talk about the Inman conference.
This went really, really well, guys. I appreciate it.
No, Dan, tell us about that, because I do think that's important. I just would never call it that, but go ahead.
Yeah. So again, very early on, I got the advice of, hey, if you want to get better at this platform, you really need to have outside advice. Like I had it in my head, like, oh, I'm doing such a great job on my videos. My thumbnails look amazing. Everything looks amazing. And then I learned very quickly that, we're all biased. And if you can have other people's opinions on what your thumbnails look like, what your title is, what topics your videos are, how your videos flow, then you're going to succeed way, way more. So I found 2 people that were just like me, kind of getting started on the platform, and basically every single week in Messenger, we would send each other thumbnails and topics and videos, and we would just be helping each other, little tweaks here and there. And so that's basically how it started. And we still talk every single week.
Matt and I are accountability buddies when it comes to
Yeah.
Instagram. Seriously, we send each other ideas all the time. I mean, the
Yeah.
last 2 years, we've been asking each other what to do with captions and what part of a reel to cut out, and same with Dan. So totally understand what you're saying, and it really does help. Not you, Dan O'Neill, Danny Deals. And it really does help to get another eye on that, because when you're in your own head in your creative process, you can miss something. You can miss a keyword that can make it better. You can miss
Yeah.
the cover photo, or you can miss a hook. So
It
although I
also
was making fun
helps.
of you, it makes sense.
No, it also like it feels cool to be like a part of something too. And it makes it a lot easier to get started when you know a couple others are doing it with you and going along for the ride. And if you're competitive like I am, you want to be better than the people you start with. Like you want to get the
Yeah.
first one to get to 1,000 subs, or whatever. You should set little goals for yourselves like that. And I think that would push everyone to do better.
Yeah. As long as everyone is like same motivation level. Because if someone starts to fall off, then they're out, and like don't make
Yeah.
the groups too big. But if you're in a small group of like really motivated people on the same platform doing the same thing, you're just going to help each other succeed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unless
What's
it's the same market though. So like where those people weren't in your market.
They're not. However, I have a podcast on, well, now we were just talking, Eric, about how we transitioned to a mastermind about video creation and mostly YouTube. Bert McGovern, he's here in San Diego. So we do collaborate. The reality is a lot of people, a lot of clients that we get through YouTube, they'll watch both of our content and they'll decide who they kind of lean more towards, like who do they
I
like
like
more.
that.
And so, but the cool thing is we also do YouTube lives together all the time too. So now we're both of our audiences are seeing us work together, and I think overall it's helping us bring in more business together than we would be apart, which is really cool.
What about Jason Cassity? He just joined Reel. He said he's going all in on YouTube this year.
Yeah.
You guys are friends, obviously, collaborators. Are
Yep.
you going to help him, or are you going to kind of give him bad advice?
Yeah. How do you
possibly
see Jason? How do you
screw
see
it up for
Jason?
him?
Are you
Yep.
seeing him nipping at your heels right now? Are you seeing you on the top of Mount Everest with binoculars looking down at his little ass? How do you see this?
Great question. So
Okay.
here's the thing. I'm not too worried because he texted me yesterday saying, Dan, should I make 10-minute YouTube videos vertical? Like, no.
Oh my God.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Matt,
So
remind Haley, make a note to never have Cassidy on this podcast again. He's been a repeat guest, and the fact that even came out of his mouth makes me question everything he's ever said to me.
so he's such a, he's always thinking of things differently. Like, how can I be different? And obviously, if you think about like Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
vertically.
Well, but that's how a lot of people are consuming content. So it actually is an interesting idea. But here's the thing: when a lot of people that watch my videos, a lot of my clients, they find me, they're going to watch literally hours of my content. They don't call and say, Dan, I watched this one video and that's why I want to work with you. It's I've watched every single one of your videos. And when they're watching that much content, they're not going to watch it on this. Mostly. They're going to watch it on big screens. Like they'll watch it on their TVs. That's very, very popular to watch it on their TVs. So the vertical stuff doesn't make sense. But I do appreciate, like, I actually thought for a second, like, that is kind of an interesting thought. I'm like, oh, okay, well, for the long form, I just don't think it makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
But that didn't really
that-
answer the question as far as Cassidy coming up. Are you going to help him out, or are you going to destroy him?
Destroy him.
He's dead to me.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
That's what we
No,
wanted to
we're
hear.
good buddies. I like to help everybody, man. I just know that we're in this. A lot of where I'm at right now is because other people help me and all the collaboration. So I'm all about that.
I'm done helping other people. Matt, let's make it a rule of this podcast. We don't help anybody else with Instagram or anything else anymore.
Yep.
This is strictly
Smart.
a self-promotional podcast.
Strictly
If anybody
business.
asks us, it's strictly business. If anyone asks me any questions, I'm not helping about the algorithm anymore. I'm done. Everybody else is popping up now. No more.
Yeah.
So if I do a video where I am Freddie Mercury today and post it on Instagram, it has nothing to do with you, Matt. Nothing.
All right.
Right.
Fine. Fine, is what it is. It's fair game at this point. We're we're done.
Yeah.
We're done. Um, I don't know if the audience has heard, but we're about 20 minutes in. Eric has a fantastic mic. So
That is true.
you're welcome. You can
Yeah.
actually hear him. He's not muffled.
I don't sound like
Congratulations,
I'm
Eric.
filming this out of my shower anymore. It only took a year and a half of episodes, but
Yeah.
it was a challenge for me to get this mic. But I do have a
Yes.
question, Matt, if I may.
Yes.
Okay,
To
Dan.
me or Dan? Okay.
To
That's
Dan.
what I was wondering.
To Dan. We just cut him out completely and start talking to each other. Dan, what are your biggest challenges with YouTube? When you wake up, what's like, this is the hardest problem I have with it? Is it the uploads? Is it the consistency? Is it the creativity, the titles? What bothers you the most?
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody. Um, I have no problem with video ideas. I have a log of 300 plus video ideas. I can think of the ideas way faster than I can actually create the content. So I think it gets to a point where you start outsourcing. So I have an editor, I have a videographer I meet with once a month, and then I have a short form editor, and then I have a blog editor, and it's taking my content and just doing a bunch of different things with it. So the management of that is really tough at this point, and just the scalability. So the cool thing about doing this versus a lot of traditional sales techniques is it goes from one to one to one to many. And so trying to figure out to get to the point of like scalability and being able to crank out more content, that's constantly what I'm thinking of. So my goal by the end of the year is so that I'm literally doing nothing, but someone else is helping me put the ideas together. I'll maybe spend 10, 15 minutes organizing it, putting in my own like personal touches, my own stories, but mostly just showing up, filming content, and then all the other work is done. That's like the goal I want by the end of the year. And it's a tough thing to get to, especially when you start outsourcing, you have all these different hands in the pots, then it becomes the management of all those different things, which is pretty challenging.
Are you scripting your videos, or are you just kind of you have a topic and you just run with it?
I do a lot of research on the videos, and sometimes it'll be various levels of scripting to outlining, somewhere in between. So, but yeah, there's a lot of research that goes into them for sure.
So what's an average time for you to film a video? So you say you have like a 5-6 minute video of you just like talking about 3 best places to live. How long would that take you to film?
So I'll meet with my videographer once a month. So like one out of every 5 videos or so is like a neighborhood video. And those are going to take a lot longer. So I'll spend a full 3 hours with him. I'll try and do some like short form content and stuff while we're out as well, so I can maximize those 3 hours. But it'll be 3 hours together. It'll be all the drive time, to and from. It'll be probably an hour and a half to 2 hours of research, and then another hour between everything else I do, from creating the thumbnail to uploading it to description, all that stuff. So I don't know, however many hours I just said there, 3, 4, 5, about 5, at least 5 hours for one of those videos.
Right.
For my talking head, which is right here, and this is like the biggest tip I can give someone getting started, or like who is started but trying to get that to that next level, is simplify the process as much as you can. Now I have a stationary camera in my office that is looking at me. I have a teleprompter over it, so I'm looking at you guys directly. I can also pull up some scripts or some outlines to help me from time to time, although I'm definitely not using it as a traditional teleprompter. And now everything is just a click of a button and I can get started. So about an hour and a half research for a video, I can film it in probably 20 minutes, send it over to my videographer or my editor. And then about, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour on the back end between the thumbnail and the description.
Okay. You have
It's
a
just
teleprompter there. I didn't know you were scripting all your answers today, but that's
Yeah,
all right.
exactly. It does kind of sound. I mean, you're so polished the way you
Yeah,
speak.
it is,
Does
like-
sound like you're just constantly reading a teleprompter. Not that this is not a normal conversation. It is a normal conversation.
Well,
But
here's
there's
the other
something.
cool thing
Yeah,
too is
go ahead.
when someone reaches out from YouTube and then we have a Zoom call, then they're literally seeing the exact same thing. I can look at you guys in the eyes because I'm just displaying my screen right in front of the camera lens. So it's always like, as soon as I have that Zoom discovery call, they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's like a YouTube video."
This is the setting that keeps
Yeah.
reminding them.
Yeah.
The setup is so important, having that stationary setup, which I don't have, and it deters me from doing a lot more YouTube videos or long form content like this. And like, I feel like people don't understand that enough. If you have to go out of your way to prop up your computer, turn on a ring light and find the mic, and you don't have something that's stationary, it's really going to hinder your actual performance, because you're going to think this is too much of a hassle to even film these videos. So I think that's a great little nugget there for the people at home. Thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, I agree. I think Eric needs a teleprompter above his computer.
Yeah, I need a permanent teleprompter.
Yeah, just in life.
Exactly.
Just a teleprompter that he walks around with.
I need someone walking in front of me with a teleprompter with all these jokes and everything prepared. Just instead of a videographer, it's just a teleprompter. That's genius.
So do you do like once you do capture, let's there's a lot I want to kind of unpack here with how you actually convert the lead once you get the lead. Do you do personal videos, anything like that? But because you're just saying, oh, they feel like they're almost like they're like talking to the video that they were watching for hours. So do you do any type of a personal video once you get a lead?
So my process is pretty simple. Once I get a lead, I have a bunch of different templates. Either they'll register on my website asking for a consultation, or they'll email me telling me kind of their situation. And essentially, I just send them an intake form, which just answers some basic questions on what they're interested in. And then at the end of the intake form, it has a link to my Calendly, and they schedule what I call a discovery session. So it's a 30-minute Zoom call. And as soon as I get someone on one of those discovery sessions, so for all of last year, out of every 2.5 discovery sessions, resulted in 1 closing. So it's like very high conversion rate once I get them to that point.
How much does each video net in terms of setting appointments? If it's a 8-minute video, like your walkability San Diego one, how many appointments do you get from that?
So I guess based on last year, it would probably be for every 2 videos, I'll get a closing. And again, my average closing is $1 million. I'm guessing this year it'll probably be a little bit more than that, based on how we're starting out the year and how many kind of backlogged we had from the last 6 months of 2022, where everyone just kind of froze, and now all of a sudden they're like ready to get going again.
Everyone stop for a second. This market is a little bit tighter than it has been in the past few years, which means leads are not necessarily banging down the door. But you know who isn't worried right now? Agents who use BoomTown, the #1 rated real estate CRM in the game.
That's right. BoomTown, it was actually founded in 2008, Eric. Do you know that?
Yeah, the same year the Phillies won the World Series against the Rays. How could I forget?
I'll take your word for it. In the middle of a housing crisis, their CEO, Greer Allen, built it from the ground up with the explicit intention of empowering agents to be successful no matter the market. So if you're ready to build a truly bulletproof business, visit BoomTown, ROI.com/overask. Plus, see how you can score 750 big ones in free digital advertising. That's BoomTown, ROI.com/overask.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah, so this is interesting. I'm going to start doing a lot of YouTube videos, Eric.
Yeah, you and Jason Cassity.
Yeah, I'm going to do them all vertical. I'm going to do a 5-hour video, just vertical. So the discovery call, and then once you get on the discovery call, like that's pretty much, how do you leave that? So how do you know when they're serious? What's going on? Sometimes you get some like psychopath who's like on the discovery call trying to meet you. Like, have you ever had like a weird situation where like they get on the call and you're like, what, like this is a waste of my time type deal? They just want to like see you or something?
I think more often than not, if I'm getting weird vibes, I'll get it from their initial reach out. And so then if that happens, then instead of giving them the intake form, I'm going to ask some more qualifying questions. Like if they're being very ambiguous, if it sounds like they might want a rental, which like we just don't do here in San Diego. There's not really a system to help people with rentals. Then I'm probably just going to tell them no, or give them some resources or something like that. But as soon as, honestly, YouTube leads are the best. They're in general, they're doing a lot more research than the average person on buying in that area. So they usually come to me with a pre-approval in hand. They already know where they want to live for the most part. Maybe I can help them tweak that. A lot of them aren't first-time buyers because they're moving to a market where it's not easy to be a first-time buyer. So I really don't get a lot of that. Like by the time I get them on one of those discovery session Zoom calls, um, it's a very high likelihood of closing. And the other thing is like it's like-minded people. It's people that like the way that I talk and the way that I'm like very casual. And so that's a lot of the people that I attract.
And
Yeah,
when you
there's so
don't
much.
close, sorry, when you don't
Go ahead.
close, do you know what the reasons are? Do you reach back out and figure out what the reasons are? Are they just not moving to the town? Are some of these discovery calls just them trying to get more information on the city before there is that kind of sometimes why they're not closing?
Um, yes to all the above. Yes, affordability is part of it. If prices keep going up, it's harder for people to afford homes here. I would say that's like probably half the people that fall off is because of affordability. Maybe they decide not to relocate to San Diego or delay the relocation for whatever reason, whether it was work related or something else. Um, Very rarely someone will go with another agent. I would say probably, gosh, I mean, maybe that happened to me twice all of last year out of all the people that I know of that have responded to me. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's for the most part, if they decide to move down here and buy something, then like I'm their resource. Here's the thing. I'm really good with follow up. YouTube leads, if they reach out to me on like a Saturday and I don't have time to respond to them or I forget to leave the emails unread or whatever, and 5 or 6 days go by without me responding, they'll reach back out and say, "I'm so sorry, Dan. I know that you're busy. Did you happen? Is there any way we can talk?" And there's just no other lead that's like that. They'll follow back up with me when I drop the ball, which again is very rare, but they're the best.
These are the exact opposite of Zillow leads or paid leads. When
Yeah.
if you don't reach out to someone in 0.5 seconds, they're going with another realtor, and they also don't even want to hear from you in the first
Yeah.
place.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been down that path with Facebook leads, and
Yeah.
my goodness. I mean, if they're signing up for giving me their information for a list of homes of like that are way under the medium price point, then they're also signing up on 10 other real estate agents lists and they probably can't even afford it anyway. So yeah, I that was the most frustrating year of my life, buying those types of
No.
leads, and it's literally the complete opposite direction when you're getting these YouTube leads.
Yeah.
Eric, have you ever had a lead reach out 2, 3, 4 times to work with you? Or
No, are you kidding me?
okay, yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
You
Have
must be
you?
doing some good shit.
Yeah, the
I've had
leads
it a
follow
couple
up with
times.
them.
I mean, I know I'm kind of like whatever online, but I'm pretty stealth good agent.
There we go.
Yeah. I'm under the radar, really good at follow up. I just don't talk about it because it's boring. I
Right.
came home from New York, took a flight home, right to showings, Eric. Okay, I don't have to post about it on, like,
Yeah.
oh, right to showings off my flight. I do the shit under the radar. I think people appreciate that sometimes.
Stealth mode. That's ideal for a real estate agent. I like that.
Classy.
Don't
Very
let them
classy.
know you're operating.
No, yeah.
Don't let them know you're doing
Totally.
business.
No, exactly.
No, but I do like that method as opposed to showing that you're doing everything. There's a
Right.
happy medium, of course. Dan, I want to get into your playlist a little bit
Mhm.
because your playlists are basically your content buckets. So for the people at home, can you describe your different playlists and why you chose those?
Yeah, for sure. So, you obviously, I mean, the method that I'm doing, the method that a lot of real estate agents succeeding on YouTube are doing is a relocation type of video. So, again, the pros and cons living in, you can do neighborhood tours, all that stuff. So that's kind of one bucket of content for me. It's all about living in San Diego and moving to San Diego. Another bucket is going to be the real estate insider for San Diego, Southern California. And then the other bucket, the third bucket that I have is what's coming soon to San Diego. So with those videos, I'll usually do like 3 different topics on things that are coming soon, whether it's like a new policy that's going into place, something new being built. I'll almost always include some type of new development so that there is some type of, real estate component as well. And the cool thing about those is if you break them down into short form videos, those perform the best on other channels as well. And it also on YouTube goes from just trying to get people from outside of San Diego to watch your videos to bringing in people that live in San Diego to start watching your videos. So that's kind of the whole thought process behind that.
Which type of video gets the most views?
On YouTube?
YouTube, yeah.
Um, when I started, like the generic ones, the pros and cons, cost of living, best neighborhoods, worst neighborhoods, those are probably like my best performing of all time. But I would say it's a lot harder to get those to work now because there's so many other ones that are competing with it.
Right.
What kept you doing it? You said it took a year for you to get your first lead.
Yeah.
Why do it all year?
A year to close my first lead. So
Close your first
yeah.
lead.
So the leads started coming in, I don't know, after a couple of months, like slowly started to trickle in. Really started to come in after like 6 to 8 months. But I don't know. I just saw so many people succeeding at it that there was never a point where I thought that this wouldn't work out. I don't know why. For whatever reason, I just had complete confidence that it was going to work out as long as I stayed consistent. So I stayed consistent and eventually it started to work out.
I'm like that too. I feel like I have just such a crazy belief in myself. Do you feel that with yourself, Eric?
For BAM, yes. It's probably the only thing I feel like that. Sometimes
Okay.
my golf game when I'm striking it well. But other
Right.
than that, I literally knew that the broke agent was going to work out. That's why for 8 years
Right.
I was posting, bullshit memes, every single
Yeah.
day. Is I just knew eventually it would build to something. So
Yeah.
yes.
I felt that
And
too.
one day it will. One day it will.
Yes.
But,
Oh,
but
I guess it hasn't yet, huh, Dan?
yeah. But I have like a crazy, like I wholeheartedly think I've never golfed a day in my life. I've told Eric this. I feel like if I start golfing right now, I could play pro by 55.
That's the dumbest thing you've ever said on this podcast, I'd say.
But I am an athlete. Okay, you've never seen me play any sports, but I am quite the athlete. Gonna be
I
honest.
think we would all assume that.
I think so too. I mean, just by the physique. But that's what I believe. I'm sorry, but that's I just believe that.
You're a good soccer player, right? The soccer athlete is different than the baseball and football and racket sport athlete, just so you know. The soccer athlete could be horrible at every other sport, but be specifically good at soccer. Dan, I knew you wanted to get in sports.
Yes, this is good.
I
Great
know it's your favorite
segue.
topic.
Let me just Wikipedia some basketball.
Matt, I met Dan in San Antonio at a conference, and we were sitting down, and obviously my favorite conversation piece is sports. So of course we started talking about like the 2008 Lakers or something like that. And I could tell when I was talking that Dan had no idea what I was talking about, but he just said a couple of things. He was like, yeah, Kobe, right? Or something along those lines. And I called him out on it, and then we bonded about it ever since, just because he was trying to engage in the conversation.
Right. Well, that's very nice of you, Dan. I mean, that
It was.
shows you're really trying. How do you feel about an outfield? What do you call baseball? Outfield?
Yeah, the outfield. Mm-hmm.
I feel like for $3 million, I could probably catch that ball too.
I think
There's a lot more.
That, don't they?
Yeah, I think they do.
Cool.
All right, that's the podcast. See you guys now. Dan, I got a few more things on. I got a few more things on YouTube.
Yeah,
live streams. I see you doing this on a consistent basis. What are you doing for live streams?
Yeah, so live streams. I'll tell you first off what not to do. Don't bring your friends on from other areas and talk about moving from one place to the other unless it's like one of the top 2 places that people move from or to for your area. A lot of agents do this because it's like an easy way to bring someone else on and have someone to talk to, but no one cares. Like it's such a niche video that you're making that it's just, in my mind, it's almost gonna mess up your channel because you're just not going to get enough views and it's not going to work very well. What I like to do is videos on real estate market here in San Diego. So it seems like kind of a boring topic, but no matter what live streams I did, those are the questions that we would get from people. So you start listening to what people are asking. We tried videos on like what's coming soon to San Diego and different things like that. But ultimately, all the questions were about real estate. So I bring on Bern McGovern, who also has a YouTube channel here. He's an agent, and we'll talk about the market. I just kind of did some searches and found out who are the other people in San Diego, real estate agents or not, that have YouTube channels so that we can kind of collaborate and bring our audiences to one another. And there's a lender here that does actually the biggest channel in San Diego is this guy, Jason, who is not a real estate agent. He just has a video about living in San Diego, and he's just this younger guy. He goes to all these events. So I've had him on my channel. So I think if you can kind of start with some people who have good setups and maybe an audience, you can bring them on and talk to them about things in your area. But yeah, the real estate stuff always does really well.
Yeah, because everyone's interested in real estate. I mean, that's why all the shows do so well. Like, it just is what it is. Everyone kind of wants to know how much that home sold for, or whatever. Like, especially if they're moving to the city. I mean, they really want to know everything and just like eat it all up. Is there anything that you have coming this year that's going to be a little groundbreaking for the YouTube space? Anything we
Yes.
can look forward to? Yes.
Yes. Well, and real quick about the live streams, I'll also say it's your super fans that show up. So it's like the same people that show up every time, and it gives them an opportunity to ask you questions without feeling like they're bothering you by sending you an email or calling you or something like that. So that's another huge value add for those live streams.
Are you
As far as
monetizing the live streams with super chats?
Yes. I mean, I've only gotten a few, but
Mhm.
yes, you can.
Okay. What about just regular monetization on your YouTube channel? Like, are you actually making money without the leads?
I make like $200 a month from AdSense, and I probably spend $1,200 a month on editing. So it goes,
Okay.
goes towards that a little bit.
Right.
Eric's
Um,
jotting it down. That sounds
yeah.
good to him.
Yeah,
It does.
sounds real good.
We just turned on YouTube monetization on the BAM channel because you needed a certain amount of views, and then finally turned that on. So we'll see what type of cash that rolls in. But
Yeah.
that
There's
monthly
no
would be
reason
nice.
not to. There's
Right.
and once you hit the metrics that you need to hit in order to turn that on, there's no reason not to, because people are going to be advertising on your channel regardless. You might as well, get some monetization yourself for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as what's going on this year, like we're still trying to stay consistent with YouTube. We're trying YouTube Shorts. So my kind of thought for this year is continue to get better at all those things, because that's our bread and butter. That's what brought in 63% of the deals last year. That's what got us started this year. That's what's helping me build a team. But knowing that it takes anywhere from 3 to 5 hours per video to make that content, come up with the ideas, the thought is, how do we turn that one video and then kind of make some verticals off of it and make a whole bunch of other content across all different platforms? So we started with Google and Facebook and Instagram ads, retargeting the people that watch our YouTube videos. So if someone just watches one of our videos, then they go onto YouTube afterwards, we're following them around the internet, bringing them back to our website. And then now they're just going to be targeted forever on Facebook and Instagram. So that was kind of step one. We also take those videos. We have a short form editor. So usually when I make one video, then at the end of the video recording, I'll actually just kind of back up a little bit and do a version for like Reels and YouTube Shorts and all that stuff. And, usually a stronger, quicker hook, just talking about the information without scripting it, because I've already did the whole video and I know I have it on the back of my head, like exactly what to say. So I'll do a short form video, send it off to my short form editor. Then we can upload that to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube Shorts, and then Google Business if it's short enough. We're also going to take that video, we're going to turn it into a blog, post that on our website, repost that on a Google Business for the
Jesus.
SEO.
That sounds exhausting.
Yeah. Enough's enough, huh? My
Yeah,
God.
and a couple more steps. We have other things. There's a site called Newsbreak where you can upload videos and you can also upload your blogs. And I'm getting thousands of views on those as well. It's like a local app that's going to tell you what's going on in your area. So all that to say, we brought someone on to help. So like I'm doing the video and then they're doing all that other stuff. It's just basically like a checklist worth of stuff. So that's a plan for this year is cool. Let's run the YouTube channel is great. It's bringing in a lot of clients and a lot of leads. But how do we just level that up and go to the next step and turn this into a real business? Not just, I don't want to just be a YouTube creator. How can I be everywhere? How can I get people from all over the place with these assets that we're already making and putting on YouTube?
Are all your leads from YouTube buyers?
Very strong majority.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then I guess, 4 or 5 years, 7 years, whatever you'll flip them because you're a follow-up. You're you're big on follow-up. If you like follow up, boomtownroi.com/overask.
That's right.
But so you're going to turn those into listings, because listings is the name of the game, Dan. I mean, I'm sure you know.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Listings is
right.
the name of the game. And
Listen,
yeah, you said it
You
all.
heard
I
it
mean,
here
well,
first,
well,
first
well.
on the
Do you?
Overask podcast.
Yeah, what I really mean is, like, do you have any? Since the buyer side has been working so well for you, do you have any ideas to start gaining seller leads?
yes. So really what we're focusing on, especially because people are relocating to San Diego, is building a community of other people they can mingle with and hang out with and things they can do. So as soon as they get here, then they're like in our ecosystem. We do monthly giveaways, like promoting a specific coffee shop or brewery or something like that. We'll do different meetups. We have 4 or 5 events throughout the year. We're constantly staying in front of them and kind of welcoming them to San Diego. And that's leading to referral business. And then, of course, it's going to lead to selling their house down the line as well. So we know we have all these assets and it's going to take some time, but that was our big thing that we pushed last year. And it's also a big value add for the agents that we're bringing on our team. Is it's not just the YouTube leads that we're bringing in. It's we're going to help you build a whole business because of this ecosystem and this thing that you can constantly be presenting to your past clients, to your referral partners, to all that stuff.
That's a brilliant idea, developing that community. Are you hosting them on a specific platform like Facebook groups or Discord, or how are they all interacting with each other?
So right now we have just Instagram is really the focus of what we're doing. So we have a private Instagram group, and we're going to upload literally gift cards in that group every single month that anyone can use. So we're really diligent about who we let in and keeping track of, whose lead it was and where they're coming from. So that's what we're doing at the moment. It's always all still a work in progress. But here's the cool thing is my wife is an event planner. She had an event planning business. Now she's working with us full time. And the thought was, all right, how can you help us create like this event and this ecosystem? Because this is what you're going to be really, really good at. So she completely runs that program for us.
Nice. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Damn. You're like filled with good. I just thought, yeah, you're filled with good ideas. I just had a really good question, and then Eric asked his question.
That's the first time we've heard anybody who's organized the community of leads that they've got off platform. I think that's genius because they all have immediate friends and people to communicate with that are in the exact same situation. And you're the commonality between every single one of them. So the more you throw these events, the more it's all about you also.
Yeah,
absolutely. Makes it easy on my part.
Yeah.
Your face is kind of the thing that's bringing in all the business. Like, really, I mean, like they're seeing you and you're bringing in all the business from your YouTube channel. You have 5 agents on your team, or just 5? Like, is that including admin or?
My wife and myself, and then we have 2 full-time agents, 1 half agent, half admin. So
okay,
the 2 of them just came on at the beginning of this year.
Okay, so for those agents who are full-time, are you telling them to get on YouTube as well, or is that going to almost confuse your audience? You know what I mean? Are you going to do that all through your channel? Have them start poking up on your channel, or do you think you're going to, or do they have their own channels and are kind of, I guess, technically competing with you?
So what we do is once they join our team, because I'm meeting up with my videographer once a month. So when I do that and a new member starts on our team, then they're going to show up for that first video. So they're going to help us showcase a neighborhood here in San Diego. We'll also create a video that is just an intro video for them, just walking with them, introducing them, like a 1-minute video, just introducing them to our team so that when we have a new lead and we're passing it off to that agent, there's a video with me introducing them. So that's kind of what we're utilizing right now. They will be within some of our videos from time to time, but the main focus on all the videos is me, because really more than anything, it's just really easy to not have to coordinate with one extra person with all this other stuff we're doing.
Yeah, you don't want your agents in your house or anything. Jesus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I took a lot of pointers from Ken Posick and what his ISA does for when leads come in and actually pushing that off to other agents on the team. But yeah, it's tough because, at the end of the day, the best agent is probably going to close 70 to 80% of the leads that I would close. And you just have to add that into your kind of algorithm of how you're going to build your team and how everything's going to work out. But
It'd be kind of cool to add Go ahead.
Sorry. So we do tell them they have to make videos. They have to make video content. So I'm really having them mostly focus on Instagram. They're doing a lot of like what you guys have been promoting a lot lately, the green screen tour videos. They've even done home tour videos. They're doing all sorts of different things. So we'll kind of collaborate on all that. And then when we send out our weekly email blast to everyone in our sphere that has my YouTube videos in it, we're also going to start including their Instagram videos on the bottom of the email too, so they can get exposure to all of us.
Go follow Dan on Instagram too, because his Instagram has the perfect variety of micro content and then national news-based content. One of your best videos is you do, I think it was the top Zillow sale in San Diego, and it's just a green screen of you kind of going through that. It's not your listing, but it's still location specific and it's still interesting enough for a national audience. So that's such a simple video that all agents could do. Is this is the top listing on Zillow right now, and I'm going to do a quick green screen walkthrough of it. So I really like that. And then you also do green screens of what's happening with Goldman Sachs and national news stories. So you have a great breakdown of, individual San Diego content and national news. So that's really smart.
Thanks, man. Yeah, my wife was telling me yesterday though. She's like, Dan, it's been, I think like in November was the last time you did a personal post. It's like you need to do more personal posts. What do you guys think about that? It used to be the 80-20 rule. I don't feel like that's the case anymore, especially if you're doing personal stuff on your Instagram stories.
I think whatever's working for your audience. I mean, your audience is there for something.
Yeah.
So you can start sprinkling things in, but like, I don't know if I do a lot of personal. I mean, I guess
you do occasionally like speaking gigs and stuff like that's different content than your actual videos, and those perform really well. I think
they do.
Personal content, especially in the Instagram stories, performs better than just real estate content. If you're just showing your listings in your stories or just showing generic photos, no one's going to care about that. But if you're showing a meal or your kids or a park you're going to, or that you're at the Padres game, that's something that all of your clients and fans can relate to and actually message you about. So I don't think there's a specific percentage you could put on it, but ignoring personal is a fool's move.
No, I mean, no doubt you need to like relate on another level. They don't just want to like see that all the time. But what I'm saying is like, there's like a certain, if I just like started being motivational and stopped doing like comedy videos, people would be like, okay, well, I'm here for, you kind of always have to do what brings you to the dance. But yeah, personal would never hurt unless you're like a weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
like,
you're not, of course.
Well, yeah, you're not. Sorry, I should have continued it. I just
you are not
you're
weird.
a weirdo.
I was just like, unless you're a weirdo, and I'm just like squinting. Like, are you a weirdo? Do you want to hear my Javier story real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not about him at all, and I actually haven't told him this. I get a call at 10 at night, like 3 weeks ago. I was watching Ginny in Georgia. I mean, I was pissed off, but I knew I had a call coming in from a number I wouldn't know. It sounds very sketchy. And it was something that I had to do. It was big. It was a contract signing thing.
This is not a drug deal, folks.
This is not a drug deal. It was a contract. Big things happening on the back end here. So anyways, I get the call, and then the guy's like, Matt, it's Javier. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, it's Javier from Instagram, the Javier, whatever his handle is. And I was like, cool. And I was like, this doesn't sound like him at all. And then he was like, yeah, listen, man, my daughter's selling Girl Guide cookies. And I was like, oh, and I just like hung up.
So
and
the
I
guy
blocked his number.
The guy was pretending to be Javier from YouTube.
Yeah, I should have told him. Yeah, I got really sketched out. I was like, shit.
You think he saw our episode and was like, this is my in with Matt to have my kids sell more Girl Scout cookies? That seems like the most insane plan I've ever heard of in my life.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. It was creepy. It was creepy because it was the first time I get a lot of like DMs of like weird people, It was the first time someone actually called me and was like weird. And I was like,
and at 10 o'clock at night.
At 10 o'clock at night when I'm just like at home.
Right.
So it was a little sketch. But anyways, Javier, don't ever do that again. No.
He might be listening.
Yeah.
This guy might be listening, actually.
This guy probably is listening.
Javier, if you're listening, throw this video a like and make sure you're subscribed on YouTube.
The fake Javier or the real Javier. Both of you throw the video a like. The fake Javier, I hope, like this guy probably has like, what are those dolls?
Voodoo dolls.
voodoo doll of me,
Yeah.
or probably Eric. He probably hates Eric more than me, but he probably just couldn't get in touch with Eric.
I mean, my number is literally on my Instagram. I need to remove that immediately because I get calls all the time just because under contact, I've had my phone number. So I get
Yeah.
like 5 or 10 calls a day. And sometimes I will get a call from someone just saying like, yo, is this the broke agent? And I'll be like, yeah.
Yeah.
He said, I messaged you this video. And then they asked me to post it or something
That's
like
just
that.
so
So
annoying.
it's crazy.
I
That's
get
insane.
those calls. I get
Yeah.
those calls being like, hey, I love your content. That's fine. You're not a creep. I mean, don't do it every day.
No one's ever called me and told me they've liked my content. It's always just been,
Oh, really?
yeah.
They just want to use you.
Yeah, of course.
Dan, do you get random calls like that? Because now you're a bit of, you got some.
There have been
FaceTime.
some weird
What do you
things. though.
say?
Here's the thing: if for any like females out there that are having YouTube channels like this, I would definitely be a lot more cautious because I've had a couple of weirdos message me over the last 3 years. It's been very few and far between, but yeah, you definitely need to be a little bit careful to the point where we're like looking for a house right now, and I'm going to make sure that's not under my own personal name. We're going to put it in a into some type of corporation or something, so we don't have to deal with that shit.
Right.
Really? You're that famous? You can't even look for a house on your own name?
Dude, there's some weird. I'm sure you guys have had some weirdos reach out that you've just kind of passed off at some point, but some weirdos out there.
Have you ever
Yeah,
thought
that-
about changing your YouTube channel to Dan Diego instead of San Diego?
I do have. There's like a group
That's better
of.
than that friggin' accountability buddy thing.
Yeah, Dan Diego. You should
This
just
was
Dan
a
Diego.
recommendation
Danny
from my
Diego.
accountability buddy that it should
Yeah.
be Danny Diego or wait
Right.
Dan
Dan
yeah,
Diego.
Dan Diego.
one day.
That's
Yeah.
a genius. Dan, what are you doing? Is that sign still say San?
I know. it
Yeah.
That
should be
better say
switched
Dan next
immediately.
time you come on.
That
That's a
would be great
genius
if
idea.
I just got a new one made and just see who notices.
That's why Eric gets paid the big bucks.
That's right. I got one more question for you, Dan. Outside of the real estate industry, so no Ken Pozeks, no Jeremy Knights, no Jason Cassidy's. Who is inspiring you on YouTube that you try to emulate?
Good question. I mean, I think it is very important to not only watch people that are within our industry. If I'm being completely honest, I've never been a big consumer of YouTube, but I have done for research purposes. I have watched Mr. Beast stuff, Mark Rober stuff. Daryl Eves is definitely the master when it comes to like saying what to do. Not that it's like the most necessarily entertaining videos. But yeah, just learning how other people structure videos and keep your attention is really, really important. But like on my free time, YouTube just seems like work to me. So I don't watch a lot of YouTube on my free time.
I got to say this, in terms of keeping people's attention, your videos do a phenomenal job. Your
Oh, thanks, man.
walkability San Diego video, you're in, I don't know how many different neighborhoods. You're in a donut shop. You're showing the
Yeah.
trolleys, the B-roll. You're in so many different locations that you're constantly engaged because it's not just someone sitting and talking to a camera, which are also engaging because even in those videos, you're pulling up the green screen, you're showing different views of the maps and everything. There's always something visually going on with your videos at the same time. So I'll leave you with that compliment.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Dan,
that. I will
I mean,
say
you
just
can
that,
get a picture from him next time.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I will say just for anyone out there that's like, all right, the only reason I'm not succeeding is because I'm not doing the stuff with the videographer. Let me tell you this. It takes 3 times as much time. It takes a lot more money to do those videos. It's exhausting. And at the end of the day, you do not get more views on those videos than doing views in your office like this. So never think that that is the key to success. Although I think at a certain point it shows, it just shows that you're a quality person, a quality creator to sprinkle some of that stuff in. And I think that that is going to help you get more higher end clients ultimately. But yeah, it's just so funny how it works out. You make those videos, they turn out so well. I'm like, yes, this is going to crush it. And then, I'll make a video a week later just answering someone's question about real estate and it'll get 3 times as many views.
Yep.
Exactly.
It's always the ones that you don't think will perform that perform, and the ones
Mhm.
you spend hours on that flop.
100%.
In the kingdom of the blind, Matt, the one-eyed man rules.
Yes.
You got any sayings, Dan?
Is that how you end I've literally heard you say that at least a dozen times in my life.
We have shirts coming. Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
No, I was thinking about memorizing that and just plugging it into this podcast at some point, but I totally forgot.
Not
Like,
that hard to
should've-
memorize.
Yeah, it's not that much
8
of
words.
prep. Thanks for prepping for the show. Yes. Just,
Dan, can you say it
sentence.
back to me? Can you say the same back to me? Let's see if you have it memorized.
Kingdom of the Blinds, I don't even remember.
Not blind.
Kingdom.
We're
in-
not talking about
In the
know,
kingdom of the blind,
pictures.
the
Okay.
one-eyed man rules.
we're not
Okay.
talking about window coverings. Yeah.
Right.
Um, yeah. Well, Dan Diego,
Yeah, we're just gonna kind of
you're
end it
welcome
after
for
that.
that. I think you're gonna go nuts after this.
Yeah,
I mean, you should thank Eric for that. I think that's genius.
Yeah.
amazing. It's been an incredible experience.
Dan, where
Yes.
can the people follow you on Instagram? Let's pump those numbers up. They're kind of small, I would
Yeah.
say, but they
Yeah, we need
shouldn't
to
be.
crank that up for sure.
Yeah.
Come on, people. Dan P. Best Life SD. It's kind of a mouthful, but it looks.
Whoa.
looks
Well,
kinda-
there you go, folks.
about
That's
changing
why-
that
Probably
handle
what it is.
immediately.
It's a
Dan,
little
Dan
small.
Diego coming soon.
What are you, a doctor? What's going on there?
Like a
Um,
writer.
yeah. Well, awesome. Dan, thanks so much for being on. I think this was value packed. I think people are really going to like this. If you don't follow Dan, go follow him. And I mean, you should probably follow him and then thank Dan for all the value he just dropped for no reason. He doesn't have to do this. I mean, he's just
Yeah.
creating more competition by giving you all this knowledge. But he's a nice guy. We're happy we had you on. Y'all take care now.
Thanks, guys.
This is a decent ending, actually.